Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Oklahoma Sportscene at Jimmy's Egg here in Tulsa, 71st and Garnett, along with the coach, J.B. Haney, Gil Codd, our Tulsa Public Schools Athletic Director and Hall of Famer, and I'm Chris Lincoln. Coach, congratulations, first of all, on another great TPS Hall of Fame induction class.
I tell you, Chris, I really appreciate you being the master of ceremonies, but it was a great night. 14 more, and now we have 91 in the Hall of Fame. So
we'll talk about the guests coming up today on our show. Jim Traber, the guy, of course, everybody knows off the state of Oklahoma, the sports animal. We'll have Jim on for several sections here to talk sports. Then a good friend of ours, Eric Bailey, Tulsa World columnist on OU Football Insiders.
Eric, we've had trouble getting him on because he's so busy with the Monday press conferences, but I think he'll have some good insight for us.
And my great friend Jim Wilburn, he and I started Winter Communications together. Jim is now the president and CEO of Major League Fishing. You'll believe how big this is. Then JD, we've got a good friend of yours, Emmett Hahn, coming to wrap up Chili Bowl.
Well, I'll tell you what, Emmett Hahn has done in racing has been incredible, bringing drivers in from all over the United States into Tulsa. That's incredible.
Well, we always start the show with a roundtable discussion, and we couldn't have a roundtable discussion without including our great friend, Jim Traber. Jim, thanks for making the trip over to the city.
Well, fellas, first of all, a couple things, man. I am way underdressed. You guys look way too good. I mean, this is ridiculous. Look at me. I got dressed up, too. You know, I made a pact a while ago that I'll never wear another tie in my life. I just can't take it. The other thing is, I got to give it up to Jimmy's Egg because, you know, the guy who started these, Bon, is a really good friend of mine. And his story had come from Vietnam. I just love that kind of story. People that come to our country and just thrive. I love Bon. I love Jimmy's Egg. So I'm so happy to be with you guys.
He started in 1980 as a 30-seat diner in Oklahoma City. Now they're 22 company locations through the state of Oklahoma.
That's on 1980. That's the year that I played quarterback at OSU. That's how long ago that is. Look at this. I'm not looking like a quarterback anymore.
Well, let's talk some sports. Of course, the big topic, of course, the discussion is the National Football League, the conference championships, the wild games, some great games. First time in history, 2 overtime games decided who goes to the Super Bowl.
Well, I hope that we talk, on the radio and TV about what the games were because, the officiating, just a horrific call. And then you had those 3, the 3 plays in the Kansas City game as well. It was tremendous football. I'm so sick and tired of Brady in New England. I bow down to him. Guys, I mean, look, I'm a Steeler fan. We lose to them all the time. I'm sick of them. But they're the best quarterback of all time and the best coach of all time. And what they did in that game was amazing.
For their preparation and his preparation as an individual, going through everything, all the options that they're going to have, and it comes to fruition at the end of the game. I mean, when they drive down the field like he has so many times.
Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, he knows how to play the game, and he's done it, and he works, like you said, he works hard. Although I am sick of the guy. I'm sorry. I just can't. I'm so tired of him. But you got to bow down when they're, when they're that good.
So February 3rd, Super Bowl 53. Is that right? 53?
53.
And it'll be the LA Rams, of course, and they're going to be taking on those, again, New England Patriots. The Rams, their first time in 39 years in the Super Bowl. And, of course, the Patriots, 3rd in a row, 5th in the last 6 years.
Well, they're always there. Yeah. If you remember, they played the St. Louis Rams a while ago, and that's the time when they cheated. That's when they went and stole the signs from the Rams. I got to tell you something, fellas. I was in Vegas in August, and I bet on the Rams to win the whole thing. So I'm cheering on the Rams, and I'm going to Vegas for the Super Bowl. So I don't know if I'm going to hedge or not, but gosh, I want the Rams to win so bad. I will promise you that. Hard to cheer for New England for me.
I know it, dude.
Well, the thing that really gets me is how that you have turned against New England. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I felt that what happened to the Saints this year, right on this last game, that was incredible what they called.
Well, the league usually waits until Monday to write them a letter, and they called after the game, and they told them not only was it pass interference, but it was a head-to-head, which, by the way, I thought in the playoffs that they weren't calling the head-to-head as much. I think they kind of realized they don't want to get a bunch of those.
Yeah.
But, man, that was tough. Now, it's good for me because I got the Rams, but, man, that was a tough situation. They're going to have to look into it in the NFL. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe they go to the NBA kind of deal and say the last 2 minutes, maybe you can look at anything. I don't know what, but it's bad.
You said the commissioner could have stepped in, right?
Well, the Rule 17 says the commissioner, if there's an egregious misuse of the rule.
Right.
He could have stopped the game at that point and made a call, but he didn't.
No. That's one of those rules that are there that I think would never be used. But it's also, if I'm not mistaken, he can do it after the game and start the game back up again.
At that point.
How about that?
That's right.
Wow.
At that
So,
point.
yeah, it really was bad for New Orleans. The referees are the best in the world. We know that.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think it's probably also time to make them full-time people.
Yeah.
Don't you guys?
Exactly.
Instead of running an insurance agency for most
being
of
a
the
principal.
year, let them work all year long. They got the money to pay these guys.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about a big hot topic in Oklahoma has been, of course, another transfer quarterback coming in for Oklahoma, Alabama's Jalen Hurts. Your thoughts about that, about Austin Kendall leaving?
Well, I'm one of the only people, I think, in the entire state of Oklahoma that's a little concerned about Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's not – if you look at all the way back when Bob Stoops came, this is the first quarterback that's played at OU that's a run-first guy. Now, he throws the ball well. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he doesn't throw it like the guys we've been watching at OU.
Yeah.
So I think the key for him is the defense. If the defense is as bad as it was last year, I don't believe that he can, in the fourth quarter, drive a team down the field, boom, 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 like they've done. So if the defense gets better, I think they'll be fine. They'll probably win the Big 12, but I think it's all about the defense.
Yeah.
A lot of intermediate rats, too. He will be going deep a lot. I think you're right, Jim, and I think that's the thing. The other question is that offensive line.
Yep, 4 guys gone.
Yeah. I mean, that's a rebuild right there.
Sure is.
And, you lose a couple of good receivers as well. So it's not a slam dunk, I don't think.
No, but they'll probably win the Big 12 more than likely.
You guys really are big 3 schools next fall. They have starting quarterbacks who transferred. We'll have Jalen Hurts probably at OU to start. That Drew Brown kid coming out of that college at Hawaii for OSU. And then Tulsa has Zach Smith who came from Baylor.
Yeah, let me tell you, I love Zach Smith, by the way. For the people in Tulsa, he's really a good player. I liked him at Baylor. I'll tell you this, though. If Brown plays at OSU, it's a bad sign. Because I think they need the youngster, man. I think they need him to be the guy.
Yeah.
See, if you look at the Big 12, guys, you know this. You need a big-time quarterback to win this league.
That's
you don't
right.
win without a quarterback. Look at those teams that have won it. So Spencer Sanders better be as advertised for OSU. And if you guys listen to my show at all, I've been a little bit down on Mike Gundy lately. I think that Mike has kind of gone off the deep end a little bit. I think it's time for him to get back to being the coach that he is, which is the best in the history of the school.
No question. And you had some comments, too, though, about Lincoln Riley, maybe his first misstep, the way they handled the Austin Kendall transfer.
It's the first time that he's taken any criticism, okay?
Yeah.
And, for those guys to say that Austin Kendall couldn't go to West Virginia, even if it was just for a day, you know how the news cycle is, fellas. It's not like when we were younger.
Yeah.
It took a long time. The minute he said that, it was all over the national media, and he got ripped for it. And luckily, they made it right, and it went away. But it's the first time, I think, that Lincoln Riley's made a mistake.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Social media, I think, runs what we do today.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can't do anything. Can you imagine? I mean, I can remember back in the day where there was a quarterback at Oklahoma, way back in the day, that had 11 DUIs and nobody ever knew about it. Today, you can't go one.
I know. Listen, I know the policeman that pulled Howard Schnellenberger over a couple of times and just drove him home. Or didn't even give him the DUI.
Yep.
And by the way, I wouldn't be sitting here next to y'all if there would have been back when I was in college.
I was thinking about you,
because I'd either be dead or somewhere where you don't want to know. So I'm glad it came along later.
He was, of course, the starting quarterback for Oklahoma State in 1980. That was who's Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson. I came with Jimmy Johnson.
And then goes on to Major League Baseball career. So you're kind of like your Kyler Murray.
Please don't put me in that category.
What do you think about Kyler? That
I think he's an incredible talent. I really do. And 5 years ago, guys, I thought that 5'9", 5'10", forget it. You can't do it anymore. But I'm changing my mind. I used to get on my dad all the time because it was hard for him to change his mind when he was old, right? Well, I'm old and I'm changing my mind. So, Dad, if you're listening up there, my man, I'm doing what I told you to do. But anyway, seriously, this guy is incredible. I not one time, fellas, did I see one player on any team take the right angle on him all year long. Not one time.
Yeah.
I mean, now they may do it in the NFL, but I couldn't believe it. They thought they could get him, and next thing you know, he's gone. And he throws the ball accurately. I can't wait to see. There'll be a team that takes him high, and it'll be exciting to see what he can do.
He'll be the first in history, right, Jim, to be drafted in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft and first round of the NFL.
Oh, I know. And listen, as a baseball player, I played an A-ball, which is probably where he'll go. He don't want to go ride those buses, fellas. Just go play football. The rules are so much for the quarterback now. You don't get hurt that badly anymore as a quarterback unless it's just a freak deal like Alex Smith. Go play football as a quarterback, make a bunch of money, forget about baseball. I love baseball. Now, I will tell you this. For the first time ever, Major League Baseball did something right because they're the worst marketed. They want this kid to stay because he's African-American, and they need young African-American stars in that game. So they're fighting for him, but I don't think they're going to get him.
Yeah. You know, I think that's one thing, Jim, that you mentioned. The 5'10" thing, but when you run 4.4.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to see him run.
Yeah, I can't either.
It might be 4.3 something. This dude is really special.
And he's going to report to the A's training camp, though, right? In mid-February?
That's what they say, yeah. But I don't know how much he's going to do. I don't know. I'll tell you what, if they give him this major league contract, there'll be a bunch of people that'll be upset about that. It's the first time it's ever been done, but they may have to do it, you know.
We're going to take you in the next segment inside the Ultimate. You'll hear from Jim Traber's personal side here.
You don't want to look at me.
It all began here. It's going to be kind of fun. Jim Traber, the Ultimate's with us on Oklahoma Sportscene right here at Jimmy's Egg.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Oklahoma Sportscene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
It's a great new year at Primo Mitsubishi. We're off to a big start and will continue in 2019. Come see our entire inventory of new 2018 and 19 Mitsubishis. Eclipse Cross, Mirage, Outlander Sport, Outlander, and Outlander PHEV. All come with Mitsubishi's new technology, 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, and our concierge service. Come see us at Primo Mitsubishi, 15309 South Memorial, Bixby, or on the web at primomitsubishi.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. We're here at Jimmy's Egg at 71st and Garnett with our good friend from the Animal over in Oklahoma City, Jim Traber. Jim, thank you for coming over today.
Thank you. They're bringing me some food, man. I'll go anywhere if you say I get some food.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about your time at OSU.
Okay. I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, the OSU fans can't stand me because I tell the truth about some of the things that happen up there. But I loved my time at Oklahoma State. It was a great, great time. Now, I was an idiot when I was young, just like a lot of us were, but I loved coming there to play football and baseball. You know, Jimmy Johnson was at...
You were in Maryland, right?
I was from Maryland. Yeah. And Dave Wanstead was recruiting me from Pitt, the University of Pittsburgh, where my whole family's from, where my dad went.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Johnson, who was there, got the job at Oklahoma State. Wanstead went with him. Wanstead made a call to me, and he said, how's your recruiting going? I said, I think I'm going to go to Clemson, you know, because I wanted to play baseball. You know, I didn't want to go. Pitt was bad for me because their baseball wasn't any good.
Yeah.
And of course, they were bringing in Dan Marino, too, so it was probably a good move not to go there. So I made a trip down here, and when I made the trip down here, Gary Ward and Tom Holliday, the baseball coaches,
great.
They heard about me from some scouts up in Maryland.
Yeah.
They brought me into their office. They showed me what Ali P. Reynolds Stadium was going to look like in a couple years and blah, blah, blah. I flew home and I said, Mom, Dad, I want to go to Oklahoma State. So I came out here, and I've loved it ever since. And it's been great. I love the state of Oklahoma. It's great to be here. And football for a year only. I started for a little bit of quarterback and then played baseball and then went on to play some pro ball.
Now, the good folks at Oklahoma State were able to dig around the archives, find some photos of you, Jim, back in 1980, your quarterback days.
Yeah, I was good looking.
But baseball was your thing. Of course, you went on to the Major League Baseball career in 1984 to 89 in the Baltimore Oriole organization, right?
Yeah, I played in my home area, which really wasn't that good because, you know, you had people that went to kindergarten with you calling up your mom and dad going, you get tickets? Can you give me tickets? You know who they were. But I loved my time there. I'd probably, as I look back at it, I was in a really bad marriage at the time, and I didn't work as hard as I probably should have. Yeah. And I'll just tell you the truth. I really probably didn't. And then I went to play Japan for a couple years, and then I played 1 year in Mexico. But the best thing about my baseball career is that when it was over, it was over. Because I remember when I got to the big leagues and I would go to like Anaheim or somewhere and there'd be a guy in the stands yell, Whammer, that was my nickname, the Whammer, and I knew that was somebody I played with, right? So I would go over and say hi to him, and all the time they would go, gosh, I wish I would have played another year. I wish I would have played. I never have said one more time that I wish I played more. Because you got to get it out of your system, fellas, you know? And I got it out of my system and then got lucky, God willing, to get into the radio, and I've been doing that for over 26 years now.
My favorite baseball clip, you can find the end of that of Jim, is chasing some poor guy around in Japan.
Don't say
right?
Poor guy. He drilled me. I can lift my arm up and show you like scars of getting hit by pitchers. Yeah, he hit me 3 times, okay? It was a left-handed pitcher that would come out of the bullpen, and they always came to me. I probably faced him almost every game that we played against this team. And there was a man on second base. We were down 1 run, okay? And he threw me a first pitch, breaking ball, like on the outside corner. I said, great. They're going to pitch to me. I thought, this is really cool. And then the next pitch, he drilled me. And I chased him out in the outfield. And in Japan, the pitcher runs from you, okay? They don't stand like here. They run. So I'm chasing him and knocking people over, trying to stop me. And I catch him out in the outfield, and I get some good shots in on him. Sorry about that out there. I apologize for that. And then they're all laying on top of me, and their manager, who's one of the greatest pitchers of all time, his name is Koneda, he comes over and steps on my face. So we clear the whole thing out. I get over to the bench, and they obviously kick me out of the game, and I sprint across the field at the manager. I'm going after the manager now. Well, their catcher knocks me off balance, and I fly through the air and land at the feet of the pitcher, the manager, and he kicks me in the face again. Oh. So yeah, I got sent away for a long time, but it was okay because I got a couple good shots in. And then every home run I hit 6 more home runs against that team the rest of the year. Every time I stopped at third base and I walked home, and I looked at the manager and just looked at him the whole time. See, I told you I was a ridiculous idiot when I was young.
Now, how did you get into radio and get into our profession then, Jim?
Gosh, I came back to go to school at Oklahoma State to finish my degree, right. And Tom Holliday told me that there was a job at this radio station. They were looking for somebody, and I said, okay. So I drove down there. I met with the guy on the station. An hour later, I was on the air. I had no idea what I was doing. I was the worst you've ever heard. And I did that for a while. Then I went back to play in Mexico for 6 months because it wasn't out of my system. Right. Got it out of my system, and then came back, and I've been doing it ever since. And, Al Eschbeck was there, and Al went away, and he came back. We came together, and we've been together at least for one period where we went against each other for a while. But now we're together, and I've been doing it for a long time.
And number one forever.
Well, I'm very proud to say, yeah, you knock on wood, but I've been very good, very good. A lot of people like to listen. The great thing is that there's a bunch of people that like me, but there's a bunch of people that hate me, right? And so that's a good thing, too. And hopefully when they get a book, they write your name down. That's the key.
So that's where Negative Nancy comes in.
I'm Negative Nancy.
And you live up to that, right? You say,
you know what? Somebody has to look at things differently than everybody else. I mean, I'll just tell you, one of the great things about Oklahoma is, like, where I come from in Maryland, when you walk down the street, the person walking by you doesn't say hi to you, okay? I mean, they don't.
Yeah.
But here they do. And when I first got here, I said to my wife, because she's from Alabama, and they're glad as can be there. I said, what's going on? I said, they're just being nice. I said, and then she said, but when they walk by you, they may talk about you. Well, I talk about you right when we're walking by. That's what I do, So I gotta be Negative Nancy. I have to say it. And for all the ladies out there named Nancy, I apologize. I'm not ripping on y'all, but I got to say it, So I am negative about things, but I also believe that life needs that sometimes. Yeah. I'm not negative in real life, guys.
Jim, the thing that I listen to you very frequently, and the thing that impresses me most about you is your honesty. What you're saying right here, you believe. What you say on the radio, you believe. I appreciate that.
You know what, JD? As God is my witness, I have never said something on the radio that I don't believe. I think that, the amazing thing about the medium of radio, guys, is that they don't get to see your face, so they don't see what you look like. So they get to know you by your voice. Right. So if you had a fight with your wife that day and you're not feeling good, they know something's wrong. If you're happy as can be because you're going on vacation the next day, they know it. They also know if you're lying to them, in my opinion. I truly believe that I think you should tell the truth, even if it's, people don't want to hear it. And the other thing is, I think you should let them in on your life, Now, my wife and my daughters haven't been real excited about that sometimes. My wife used to run a company, fellas, okay? Right, yeah. She was the president. She was big time. She sold it, but she was big time. She'd get people calling in going, hey, can I speak to Jules? Because that's what I call her. Call her Jewel. and they'd like want to just talk to her. And she's like the president of this company. And she'd say, Jim, stop talking about me. So, but anyway, I think it's cool that people know about my life, you know.
I love it. I'm talking about Becky all the time.
Yeah.
And I think you know Julie, of course. I love that she'll call in to kind of straighten you out a few times.
Oh, yeah.
And the daughters, of course, are just amazing. And then,
oh, my God.
Seriously, the bulldog sleeps with you guys?
No.
Okay,
No,
I thought
doesn't.
Julie was going to.
In the very beginning, when I first met her, my bulldog slept with me. But then, that's a long story. We had to get rid of him. He was huge. Gus was his name. But we got a brand new bulldog now. She sleeps in a crate, so everybody's happy about that.
There you go.
And my grandbabies, of course, run the show. So.
Oh, nothing better.
Oh, my gosh. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, my gosh. We have a lot more with the ultimate Jim Traber here. We're going to come back and talk about, of course, Sooners and Cowboys and Hurricanes, all kinds of sports items. So stay with us. Much more with Jim Traber from the Sports Animal on Jimmy's Egg.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Every minute, every day, and every night, there's someone who needs us. Every week and every year, we bring something new to the way we care for individuals and our communities. Every thought and every action is spent improving the way we imagine health and wellness. Because every child, every woman, and every man deserves the best possible life. St. Francis Health System. Healthcare for life.
Robertson Tire has been locally owned and serving Tulsa for the past 50 years, but we're much more than a tire shop. We handle alignments, oil changes, brakes, and much more. For all our services, coupons, and location information, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Back on Oklahoma Sportscene, another segment with the ultimate himself, Jim Traber. He is, of course, the voice of the Sports Animal, the #1 radio sports talk show throughout the state of Oklahoma. Jim, again, can't thank you enough for making the trip over from the city here.
I love the city of Tulsa, man, and I love that we have a station up here, the Sports Animal, that people can listen. So I just love coming up here. And since I moved to Edmond, it's a lot easier to get here. You know, when I lived in Norman, a little bit further, but now in Edmond, boom, I get here. So I'm excited. Watch your guys' show. I'm so glad you all let me come up and be on it.
Well, one of your favorite topics, I know, every week, every day I listen to it. How is he going to feel about the Oklahoma City Thunder last night?
Listen, they're a trip now. I'd hate to be a fan of their team. I mean, I really would, man. They drive me crazy. You know, they're a little bit lucky that they won that game against Philly, and I'll tell you what, they're lucky that Paul George stayed.
Oh, man.
I mean, think about it. If he didn't stay here, where would they be? Russell Westbrook would be taking 40 shots a game, and it would be a psycho festival, which is what he likes to do. So Paul George was amazing. That was a really good win they needed after some bad losses. Look, I picked them to be the 4 seed at the beginning of the year. That's about where I think they're going to be. I don't know. You're an old basketball guy. Don't they drive you crazy?
JV?
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. It seems to me like they are so inconsistent anymore. And there'll be one game that everything they're screening, they're picking, the things that the basic element of basketball they do. And the next game, it's not there.
Yeah.
What happens?
Well, that's a great question. I think one of the biggest problems is that no one's listening to the coach. I think the coach, everybody wants to get rid of Billy Donovan. I don't think it's him. Long time ago, they needed to settle Russell Westbrook down and say, dude, you're a superstar, but let's do this. You can't shoot threes. Stop shooting them. Do what you can do. I mean, he's averaging a triple-double, and everybody's like, oh, that's unbelievable. But then, he goes into the game, and the other night he goes 1 for 6. He takes 2 horrible threes towards the end of the game, and then he makes a terrible foul. I mean, I know people don't like to hear this. I got yelled at on my TV show down in Oklahoma City last night, but I think it was a good thing he fouled out of the game. Because I think he would have taken a bad shot probably at the end of the game.
That's right.
Look, they're a good team, and they can play with people, but they're not going to win anything because I just think they do. Like you said, they're so inconsistent, but they do play better against the better teams, which is weird.
Amazing.
What do you think about the Oklahoma State Cowboy football team for this next year?
I think it's all about the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I think that Spencer Sanders needs to be really good. If it's Brown, I think that's a negative, but if he's good, that's good too. I do think that Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy need to get back to what the heck he's all about. Instead of bringing his dog to the press conference and worrying about how long his hair is and all these different things that he's doing now. You know, he talked about any followers or anybody that talks about it. I saw a deal. This was unbelievable. Before the bowl game, the big bowl games, they had this deal on ESPN where they showed Alabama and they showed OU and they showed Clemson. They were showing all these different things and they were showing football. And then they showed Mike Gundy talking at a press box going, Twitter, I don't give a rat's word. That's what they think of him, fellas. He's a big-time football coach. Go back to coaching. That's what I think about Oklahoma State football. I think they're at a crossroads right now. I really do. They need a quarterback, and they need him to get back. If they don't, I think they're going to be in the 7-5 kind of range, which I don't know if OSU fans are going to be happy with anymore.
Yeah, I love the new basketball coach, Mike Boynton.
Love him. Love the guy.
He's got a tough job. I'll tell you,
Man.
just kicked 3 players off. They had to put a call out on campus to come help us practice at least, Jim. He's got a tough go.
Yeah, he's looking for players on campus now to try to help him out. Yeah, it's a tough deal. You know, college basketball just is all the way around the country is not what it used to be.
No.
But it's even worse here because of the Thunder. The Thunder have really hurt both OU and OSU.
No question.
Now, if they win, people will come. And I think that there's people that are excited. They want Boynton to do well, and I like him. But, man, playing with 9 players, he's going to have a tough year.
What about OSU baseball?
I love me some Josh Holliday.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that a lot of OSU fans were mad at me. The last coach, I was calling for his job after about a couple years.
Yeah.
I said, he's not the answer. I knew he wasn't the answer.
Yeah.
Good coach.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just not the answer. You know, the weird thing about Oklahoma State is, fellas, I think that people that went there are better coaches there because they understand what Stillwater is about. You know, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. You have to really appreciate what it is. And if you look at the history, other than Gary Ward, almost every one of the great coaches went to school there. You know, Mike Gundy's one of them, and now Josh Holliday. They're going to have this new stadium. I opened the old stadium. That's how old I am. Okay, so now it's not good enough, but I'm really excited about OSU baseball. I love what Josh Holliday's doing. I love the guy.
What about Baker Mayfield?
He's a freak of nature. Another one. They got back-to-back freak of nature. I don't like the guy personally. I don't like the things he did. I'm sorry. It's just me. I'm an old fogey. I don't like what he did. I think that they didn't treat him probably as harshly as they should have for some of the things he did. But I'm going to tell you something. He's obviously a big-time leader. I think people love playing for him. He's a winner, and it makes me throw up in my mouth to talk good about the Cleveland Browns, okay?
As a Steeler fan.
As a Steeler fan. Yeah. But they got a chance. I mean, they got a chance. He's a really, really good football player. Knows how to play the game.
Well, before you leave us, we have something for you.
Right here, Jim.
Man.
There's a bunch of them in Oklahoma City. So
I know, man. That's what. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh.
Wow. Are you kidding?
Nancy Switch, she's our general manager. And
Nancy, look at this. Look at that. I mean, I'm a dig in. You think I haven't had these before? What are you talking about? I had a Jimmy's Egg, man. I've been going to Jimmy's Egg forever. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Can't thank you enough.
Fellas, I appreciate y'all.
And Tiger Woods is still not going to win.
Yeah, no, Tiger Woods is done. I mean, he won that tournament, but listen, Tiger Woods, and by the way, even if he does win, it's been the greatest bet that any human's ever made. Didn't he? They were killing me like 7 years ago when I made this bet. I had to give it up to myself before I left. I hadn't done it really yet. So
there you go.
By the way, I'm going to go ahead and tear this stuff up.
All right. So. Thank you, Jimmy. Enjoy it.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Jim Traber, the ultimate on with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Stand by. Eric Bailey with some inside stuff with Oklahoma football coming up after the break.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
If you haven't had an opportunity to read one of the Greater Tulsa reporters, I'd like to encourage you to pick up, let's say, the Jinx District Gazette. As an example, that's one of 6 that is put out by Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon. But if you want to read something about sports, about government, about education, about economics, it's all right here in the GTR. So there are 6 of them in metropolitan Tulsa. I encourage you to pick up one today.
Oh, welcome back to Oklahoma Sportscene. We're here at Jimmy Zegg at 71st and Garnett, and our good friend Eric Bailey is here from the Tulsa World.
Enjoy your cinnamon roll, Coach.
I'm hungry.
Hey, you were just this past Sunday, Lincoln Riley had a press conference and introduced the new defensive coordinator. Talked about a number of things, football transfer, quarterbacks in, quarterbacks out. Give us kind of a summary of what was going on with Lincoln Riley.
You know, there was a lot to talk about yesterday, Chris. When you think about it, you had the quarterback situation, you had the new defensive coordinator, you had the new contract that's going to be announced later in the month for Lincoln Riley, how Oklahoma locked him up. So there was a lot of topics in a short amount of time, but we tried to cover as many as we could yesterday.
Any money figure you heard for Lincoln?
No money figure yet, but I hear it's going to be one of those things where you're going to kind of open your eyes a little more. So It's going to be a big number, I bet.
Gosh.
Eric, when you take a look at what's happening at the quarterbacks at OU, what's going to be the one this year?
Well, I really think you look at Lincoln Riley's success with transfer quarterbacks, what they've been able to do the last couple of years, and now introducing Jalen Hurts to the mold. I think everything's lining up perfectly to set up for 1 year with Jalen Hurts, and then you have Spencer Rattler and Tanner Mordecai the year after. So it allows those young players to get a little bit more experience, a little bit more time in that room. And it's not bad when you get a quarterback that you can count the number of losses that he had as a starting quarterback over 3 years and still have fingers left over. He only had 2 losses as a starter. So this is a good guy coming in for the Sooners.
Sports analyst Jim Traber just saw this earlier, and he criticized Lincoln Riley. The first time, really, he thought he took a misstep the way he handled the transfer they lost in Kendall there.
I think in hindsight they would have handled it a lot better. After they got a little bit of public pressure, they allowed him to transfer. Now, he could have transferred to West Virginia at any time, but it would have cost him a year eligibility, and that was the issue. So once they released him full, it gives them 2 years, and really wasn't a good look for Oklahoma. And I think if they could do it all over again, they would have handled it much differently.
Well, the transfer thing is sweeping the country right now. With the graduate transfers and the other transfers, and I have a different view of it. I think you commit to somebody, you should stay. And I know that Lincoln's first thought had to be, having been in those shoes, I've coached this kid, he's been in our program, we spent money to recruit him, and now we're going to play against him. And that's always a tough situation for him. And, of course, the one thing that I saw yesterday, well, he's going to go in that meeting room, and he's going to know the tendencies that Oklahoma has and everything. Maybe not the same now with Jalen Hurts as a quarterback.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it's a new dynamic with the transfer portal. You're looking at guys that maybe go to a school for 1 year and say, hey, I might not win the starting job next year. Let's see where I can win a starting job. And guys are really pulling the trigger really quick. And you mentioned about that, too. I mean, coaches are paranoid, not just Lincoln Riley, but across the board. Coaches are paranoid, and you got to wonder, the signals. The signals they give into the quarterback. Austin Kendall's been there for 3 years. He knows everything Oklahoma likes to do. So I think that's in the back of Lincoln Riley's mind as well.
I think so.
Well, you got to meet Alex Grinch, our new defensive coordinator from Ohio State, and his new defensive staff. Some of your thoughts, and obviously everybody who's an Oklahoma Sooner fan is concerned about the defense and can they be better?
Yeah, and I really think it's going to be one of those things where it's not going to be an overnight change. It's going to take time. You look at Washington State, everyone talks about the transition their defense made, but that took 3 years. So Oklahoma fans can't go and say, okay, year one, it's going to be an automatic change. They're going to be light years better. It's going to take time. They're going to have to learn Alex Grinch. Alex Grinch is going to have to learn them. And the one word he used yesterday multiple times was urgency. There's a sense of urgency. They know they have to get better fast. They don't want to waste a day. They don't want to, lose a day during spring camp. That, okay, day 3, we got it. He wants them to learn right away. So for Oklahoma, I think if they just had an average defense over these past couple of years, they could be having a national championship right now.
Yeah. Not changing the subject, but this is something that's been on my mind, and you're down there. What has happened to the women's basketball team at Norman?
Well, they're young, but then again, you look at what has happened the last couple of years under Coach Cole. They've struggled, and it's become not just a one-year thing. It's starting to kind of trend that way. So I think it's just one of those things where they're going to have to make some hard decisions, and you got to be thankful for what Coach Cole has brought to the program over the years, but the success rate just isn't there like 10 years ago. They're not that team that they were 10 years ago, and I think it's going to cause Joe Castiglione to take a step back and say, okay, what's the long-range focus of this program?
Ron Kruger's got the kind of things turned around with the men's basketball program. Without the superstar, but with just a good, solid, basic team, there's just been no great team in the Big 12, including even Kansas this year.
And I think with Oklahoma, the big thing is they have a lot of veterans. They have a lot of seniors. They have 2 grad transfers. So this is a veteran team, one of the most experienced team in college basketball. That being said, they're losing games on the road. They're going to have to win some road games if they want to up their seed. Right now, I think they're going to make the tournament, but with each loss on the road, especially in Big 12 play, it's not helping their seed. But I think next year is going to be really interesting because you lose all those guys. So Oklahoma needs to take advantage of what they have this year and try to build some momentum.
What do you think about Kyler Murray?
I heard Jim talk a little bit earlier. Generational type quarterback. He's going to be exciting to see what he does. I think he could play football. You got to wonder though, with his size, some of those hits in the NFL, those hits in the NFL don't compare to what the hits in college football are. So I think that's a deal. But I really think he could be successful with the right team, and if an offense built their structure around him.
We're excited about Josh Jacobs going to the draft.
We were talking about that a little off camera to go. Josh Jacobs is amazing, and it's a great representative of Tulsa Public Schools.
Alabama running back who
just declared to go pro. I think that he's going to really be fun to watch at the next level. And when we talked to him before the Orange Bowl, he talked about Oklahoma. They really never came in on him, and I think he took that as inspiration, motivation for that Orange Bowl. And we saw what kind of game he had against the Sooners in the Orange Bowl. So.
It was incredible during his senior year. I would call the athletic director at McLean, and I'd say, "Now who's in on him next?" Well, Wyoming, UTEP. I said, "Really?" And this is week 4 or 5 where he scored like 20 touchdowns. And you're thinking, my goodness, what's going on? But in the end, the right school got him, I think.
Eric Bailey with us, the Tulsa World, or the sports columnist who really covers OU football, OU athletics. And got to ask you then, are you surprised at Baker Mayfield's instant success, the NFL's Rookie of the Year?
Well, you knew he had the potential. I mean, you look out there and some of the throws he made this year, Chris, were amazing. And we saw a little bit of that at Oklahoma. Once again, I think it was an offense that built around him, built to his strengths. And this is a Cleveland team that could get better as the years come. And he's just been so successul on the field. I just been impressed with what he's been able to do and make that transition. That's not an easy transition, especially at that position. And for him, he has that team behind his back. He's got that locker room. He's got that city. He's the king of that city, so it can only go up from here.
He's replaced LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That city needed a hero, and they have another one now.
Interesting, too, that the Oklahoma Sooners open at home this season against Houston. Dana Holgorsen coming in, huh?
Dana Holgorsen, that's going to be interesting, too.
Wow.
I mean, you think about what's going on down there, and that was a change. And I think for West Virginia's sake, it was good for both parties. I think Oklahoma, it'll be interesting that first game to see what the defense does. What kind of defense are they going to have? And as Houston's trying to learn Dana's system, Oklahoma's going to try to learn Coach Grinch's system, so that'll be fun to watch.
Well, we've been trying to get you on forever. It's tough with your schedule down all the time in Norman you have to spend there. Right?
Yeah, so. I can tell you, the OU beat, they're my best friends, they're my family, and they're entertained by the show. We know the show's on, and we watch it, so you guys are doing a great job.
We got something for you
Make sure you go by Jimmy's Egg when you're around.
I may have to take those guys out to breakfast
there
now.
You go. All right.
Eric Bailey, Tulsa World Sports columnist, joining us here. We come back, we'll rev it up with our friend Emmett Hahn to wrap up another incredible Chili Bowl.
o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Remington Park is now officially open around the clock. That's right, we are 24/7.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock till broad daylight. Gonna rock around the clock tonight.
So when we say the party never ends, you better believe it. Remington Park, now open 24/7.
Robertson Tire has been locally owned and serving Tulsa for the past 50 years, but we're much more than a tire shop. We handle alignments, oil changes, brakes, and much more. For all our services, coupons, and location information, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Welcome back to Jimmy's Egg, 71st and Garnett here in Tulsa, having breakfast at Jimmy's Egg. A longtime friend of mine, Jim Wilburn, who is also the president, CEO, and an incredible job he's done with Major League Fishing. But Jim, before that, let's relive some memories for us. So, great time we're together at Channel 8, then Wintercom, of course.
Boy, I'll tell you, it seems like yesterday when we stood on that hill in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and I tried to talk you into leaving your job to go televise 3/4 horse races. You thought I was crazy then, and I know you think I'm crazy now. So.
Well, then you sold Winter Communications. Tell me about Major League Fishing. How did you get involved in Major League Fishing, the Outdoor Channel?
Well, in about 9 years ago, I was 6 months from retiring. I was at the end of my contract, and Roger Warner, who used to be president of ESPN, he was the first president that I dealt with. They had brought him into Outdoor Channel to turn it around, to get it ready to sell. And we were a hunting whitetail deer network, and ratings for fishing were terrible. I'll never forget Roger telling me, he called me up and he said, Jimmy, he calls me Jimmy. He said, Jimmy, you got to fix fishing. Because we used to manage all the bass, BASS for ESPN. And so I said, okay, well, it's serendipitous. Gary Klein, who I'd sponsored with our Extreme Bulls bull riding tour 15 years earlier, Gary had come up with this brilliant idea to televise live fishing, because his view was that fishing was the only sport in existence where the players on the playing field didn't know what the score was when they were playing. Huh. And so he came up with this idea, and they called me. They were having their last Bass Elite event up at on Lake Eufaula. They were in Muskogee, and asked me to come and meet with them. And I was in a room with a bunch of legends, Kevin Van Dam, and who's an all-time winner in bass fishing. And bottom line is, they ran this idea with me. They said, what we want to do is make bass fishing hard. We want to invite the 24 best guys in the world. We've made $70 million in purse money. We made a lot more money on our sponsors, logos. We want to not tell the anglers where they're going to go fish until we put them on the water in the morning. Wow. Traditional bass tournaments, they tell them a year ahead when they're going to go. They go out and they practice 3 days. They find their spots on the water. They mark their GPS waypoints. And when the tournament starts, they go catch fish. But what fans never get to see is the greatest fishermen in the world finding fish. So, and then they catch the 5 biggest fish, run them around in their boats all day, and put them in a plastic bag at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They go away and find out what place they're in. So what we do, Gary's idea was, we tell our guys to go to a city. At 4:30 in the morning, we put them in a pickup with an official, with a wrap boat, logos all over them, league boats and league logos. So we own all the branding, and we put them on a body of water. We give them an avionics chip to put in their Lowrance GPS. They put it in. They find out what body of water they're on. They have no idea. Wow. They have 15 minutes, not 3 days, to break it down. Mm-hmm. We have 3 2.5-hour periods, and every fish counts. Every legal limit 1 pound bass counts. And so when they catch it, we created Mike Williams, created the technology. He was a rocket scientist. And when I went back from that meeting, I told the guys, I love the idea, but I don't know if we can create the technology. But I know the guy that can. And Mike said, yeah, I can do it. Take me 6 to 8 months. So in the boats, we literally have a digital scale. We weigh the fish. The official verifies the weight on the digital scale. They input it into an iPad, and it goes live to all the anglers. Wow. So it's live fishing.
Has this become a spectator sport?
Well, no, because we've always done everything in the dark, which means we tape it like The Bachelor or The Biggest Loser, where nobody knows the results. They don't know where we're going. We don't want fans around. But when you roll into town with 15 wrap boats, they're going to know something's going on. So we do have some people, but it's not where we draw the big crowds like the other tours. But now, this new tour we're launching at Kissimmee, Florida, which starts a week from tomorrow, I hope. I'm praying it does. That we'll have crowds. We'll have an activation. It'll be live. We're actually live streaming over 370 hours. We'll have 16 cameras, most that's ever been done. We'll have a game day set with giant TVs, 5 talent. We're going to have a fan cast desk for social media. So it's going to be a big deal.
850 hours of programming over 6 networks. And looking to 2019 later on, you'll have for the next fall 2 hours before NFL games on CBS.
Right.
2020 before the playoffs.
That's right. Well, we were the first to ever create an episodic series on CBS on a network. 3 years ago, we created the World Championship where we keep points like NASCAR, Race to the Chase, FedEx Cup. So at the end of the year, we take our top 12 point earners, put them in the World Championship, and I put it on CBS for 6 straight weeks, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then it re-airs on CBS Sports Cable. And then when we created the tour 2 years ago, Discovery contacted me and wanted to have Major League Fishing as the anchor show on Saturday mornings for 13 weeks. And this year we bought an extra. We sold out, bought an extra 13 weeks, 52 hours of programming now on Discovery, and I bought 2 more hours on adjacent to CBS NFL. So should be the biggest ratings in the history of fishing by triple.
Greatest sales I've ever known in my life, guys. I tell you, unbelievable.
Sounds like a good one, man.
And it has just a few miles on American Odds. What's your mileage now, Jim?
9.4 million.
I thought I was going with 8.4 million miles.
Well, you said 15 flights since January.
Yeah, 15 flights. I was in the last 8 days. I was in Newport News, Virginia, Detroit, Dallas, Charlotte, and New York. So
there you go.
When can people see the next televised event?
They can watch it on MajorLeagueFishing.com. Our streaming beginning next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, so 9 o'clock. We'll have 5 hours of live coverage, and then we'll have a 2-hour post-game show, because obviously we don't weigh fish. So people are going, we're going to roll the anglers through in front of the game day set. The boats will become their stage.
Yeah.
We'll do interviews and expose all the sponsors. So
yeah, something for you, Jim, before you leave here.
Well, if you're in town, go to Jimmy's Egg.
Man, I love this place. Yeah. We have me a little ham and eggs.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Best ever was Jim Wilburn, of course, the president and CEO of Major League Fishing. Jim, thanks for joining us. Have a great season.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Congratulations.
It's my pleasure. It's always great to be back with you,
Thank
Chris.
you, buddy. Always
Yeah,
fun.
you're the best.
We'll be back with Emmett and Hahn, wrap up the Chili Bowl when we get back.
March Madness. There's nothing like it. The road to the Final Four goes through Tulsa. The 2019 NCAA Men's Basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th at BOK Center in Tulsa.
Beautifully done. Deep splash. Feeling it today.
Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets and get your seats today.
It's a great new year at Primo Mitsubishi. We're off to a big start and will continue in 2019. Come see our entire inventory of new 2018 and 19 Mitsubishis. Eclipse Cross, Mirage, Outlander Sport, Outlander, and Outlander PHEV. All come with Mitsubishi's new technology, 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, and our concierge service. Come see us at Primo Mitsubishi, 15309 South Memorial, Bixby, or on the web at primomitsubishi.com.
Returning on Oklahoma Sportscene at Jimmy's Egg, 71st and Garnett here in Tulsa. And a very special guest has rejoined us, Emmett Hahn, the man who is, of course, Chili Bowl. They had the 33rd Chili Bowl just wrapping up here. Congratulations on another fantastic show, and what a finish that a Big 8 feature Saturday night.
I had some people after it was over said 1993 when Andy Hillenberg won it, when the PJ and Page joints crashed each other.
Yeah.
And then Andy went on to win. Said this one surpassed the best race they'd ever seen. Unbelievable.
Christopher Bell chasing down Kyle Larson, two very popular drivers. Talk about that, the last lap.
Well, he was gathering him up, and Kyle admitted, we have a big screen. When you go down the front straightaway, you can look up on the big screen and see where everybody's at. And I think Kyle got watching TV and missed his mark. Well, in fact, he even said that.
Yeah.
But it was a exciting race. I know early, I've drove a race car a little bit, but I seen that Christopher Bell was a little bit tight. I told the people with me, I said the racetrack is going to come to his car. He's going to get better as the night goes along, and that's pretty much what happened.
The winning margin was 0.3506 seconds. What is that, a tire or a bumper?
That's about a foot and a half. After 55 laps and have the race that close, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Emmett, were you happy with your crowd?
Crowd was good. This was the first year we went to Monday night qualifiers as another preliminary night. Our crowd was a lot better than I expected. The weather forecast all week for Saturday was making me nervous, but it ended up being all right. Our crowd was bigger this year, biggest crowd we've ever had.
How many drivers in town?
359.
Holy cow.
Wow.
That's just trying to get into a 24-car field, so that makes it pretty tough.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
How about Dale Earnhardt's daughter?
Granddaughter. She done a good job. She ran the shootout a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Done pretty good there. And she hasn't run that much dirt, but she's run quite a bit of dirt. I know Saturday night, a veteran racer went in there and fed her a right rear coming off a two and got her upside down. And what was ironic is her mother was over there above her. She could probably reach that. Well, she could have talked to her while she was in the car upside down. But she done a good job.
18-year-old Carson Elledge, the granddaughter of the legend himself, Dale Earnhardt Sr., won the main feature on Saturday night in her very first chili ball. We had a young lady, it was at our press conference, a local gal also driving here.
Yes, Holly was out there. She was driving one of Keith Kuntz's cars. She had a good week. You know, I mean, you don't come in here just to make the main event at the Chili Bowl. You can stick a feather in your cap, and so I don't know how far Holly went up Saturday night, but she done a great job the whole weekend.
75 car flips.
God, fans love that.
I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to have to get a fence sponsor. Them people, they tore up a lot of fence. It was Thursday night, I think it was, that, oh my gosh, I thought we don't have enough records. I mean, they were just one after another. And then Tracy Hines, I think that was Thursday night, down in 1 and 2. His car got as high as any car I've ever seen at the Chili Bowl. Our poles are 20 feet. And he was up there by the top of the pole. And he's getting up close to 50 years old. He's too old to be doing that.
Well, our champion, Christopher Bell, who just won his third consecutive Chili Bowl, the Big A feature, he ended up turning his car over, celebrating at the end. Right?
Yeah, he was going to do them donuts right there. Rico almost turned his over 3 or 4 years ago. And he was doing a donut. What's funny is Keith Kuntz's cars has won preliminary nights. I mean, like Kyle Larson a year ago won preliminary night, done them donuts. Well, they take them engines and probably turn them 9,000 RPM. So the car owner this year says there'll be no donuts on preliminary nights because every one of them that done them donuts, their engine broke in the feature on Saturday night. So he didn't let any of them do it until Saturday night. Then Christopher Bell overdone it a little bit, but he was excited.
34th Chili Bowl, already making plans for that. The dates are already set, January 13th to the 18th of 2020 at the River Spirit Expo Center. Reserve tickets go on sale, they're telling me, Emmett, on March the 6th. I mean, how do you possibly improve on this? Obviously, it worked well, the changing format. Got them out earlier in the evening, right?
Well, and like our preliminary nights, one night we finished up at 9:29.
Nice.
The other night it was 9:35. You know, and that was our goal, to get people out earlier and where they could go eat, go party, do whatever. So all of that worked out. Our staff this year was probably smoother than it's ever been in our 33 years. So I tell everybody they do all the work, and I take all the credit, but they done a great job.
Well, you're amazing. I mean, Chili Bowl's become such a big, and I was stunned when Ray Hoyt, the Tulsa Sports Commissioner, was at your press conference and mentioned that the Chili Bowl has a $30 million impact on this city.
I don't think, but maybe one other event brings any more money in 1 week than the Chili Bowl does. I mean, 85% of our people are from out of state, and they got plenty of money when they come to town, and that's why another reason it's important to get them out early. The casinos are doing very well.
Yeah, I'm
sure they love it.
I think anybody deserves a breakfast more than Emmett Hahn.
Emmett Hahn, you bet.
Hey.
Salute. Serve you a nice breakfast here for Jimmy's Egg, and we have something else for you too here, Emmett.
Emmett, when you get a little sleep, get by Jimmy's Egg.
Oh my God! Thank you very much.
Dig in there.
Can
and enjoy
I get into this?
Sure. I'm going to talk about Jimmy's Egg right now. 22 locations, 3 here in the Tulsa area. Open 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day, and you can get whatever you want anytime on their menu, whether it be a bagel in the morning or a hamburger, whatever you want, they have it for you. Also, they have a dedicated menu for some of us 55-plussers barely. special items for us we appreciate. And how about free pancakes? Well, you can download their new app. I have it on my phone. You'll get on exclusive deals, you get rewards, get a free meal, all for Jimmy's Egg. They started in Oklahoma City back in 1980, as Jim Traber told you. We're so glad they're been a great sponsor with us too. So Jimmy's Egg, our title sponsor, Oklahoma Sportscene, and get out and enjoy it.
The 2019 NCAA Men's Basketball first and second rounds. March 22nd and 24th at BOK Center in Tulsa. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets and get your seats today.
Oklahoma Sportscene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa. Well, Coach has finished his cinnamon roll here, so I guess it's time to wrap things up for Jimmy's Eggs, Oklahoma Sportscene here in Tulsa. The Coach, your personal parting shot.
My parting shot today is with the NFL. NFL made huge mistakes this weekend in the officiating of the two great football games that were played. It's a shame when a call can turn the game. And I think we saw in both games there were calls that were made, calls that were not made that turned the game. The pass interference call in the New Orleans game was unbelievable. I think anybody in the grandstand, anybody on the field could see that. And it's a shame because there is a rule in the NFL rule book that indicates that the commissioner can step in at any time if something's egregious. And that was very, very egregious. I think there are other things that, like Drew Brees said, though, they had an opportunity to win and they didn't take advantage of that. I think the NFL needs to look and evaluate their rules for this next year and include pass interference as one of the reviewable rules.
As we get to the end of January, we're coming up on the era when both boys and girls and all winter sports on the high school level start to play off for their approach toward a state championship. And because of my background in high school athletics, I certainly want to encourage all of our viewers to get out and support their local high school, boys or girls wrestling, whatever it might be, that you support those kids because they need it, especially as they start toward the end of their season. So get out and support them, and I think you'll be glad you did.
Well, my parting shot takes us back to Oklahoma Sportscene show that we taped on January the 9th with Tulsa Pathway Panthers, their special swim team, heading to the Special Olympics swim meet in Emmett, Oklahoma. We got the results for them. We're very proud of our group here. Our special guests are Pathway coach Julie Psycho, along with their athlete Tara Sample. The team competed in 25 and 50-meter freestyle swimming, 25-meter backstroke, and the 4x25 relay in Emmett, Oklahoma. The Panthers made us proud. They collected 9 gold medals, 3 silvers, 5 bronze, and 2 fourth-place ribbons. Oklahoma Special Olympics held its very first event here in the city of Tulsa at the University of Tulsa in 1969. Now includes 11,600 special athletes that take part in 140 sports around this state. The next big event coming up May 15th. That's, of course, the Summer Olympics in Stillwater at Oklahoma State. Let me win. If I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. The motto of Special Olympics, and these kids sure showed that again this past weekend. All right, guys, look ahead to next week. The show coming up, we're going to have Bob Carpenter talking Major League Baseball. Mark Cooper, the Tulsa World Sports Columnist for Oklahoma State. We'll have, of course, our Oklahoma Player and Coach of the Month.
Henry will be here, Henry
right.
and Primo and Barry Lewis, and we'll be able to isolate who did well in December and January, and then, of course, we'll talk about the Super Bowl, too.
Exact Super Bowl preview coming up. Thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. See you next time.